What up, what up, what up, what up? Welcome back to another episode of the Bad Podcast. Brad and Dawain in here with my brother Brad. Brad, my friend. What are we talking about today, man? What you got for us?
You know what I love about this podcast is the viewers don't know the podcast we do before the podcast. We chop it up for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes every time. We talk about this, that, and the other.
True
And
that.
that's probably my favorite part of this podcast because we don't get to see each other a whole lot. And this is our chance to
Right.
chop it up and just have a little fun. So
Absolutely.
always grateful to be here, my friend.
Yes, sir.
All right. Prep, rep, repeat. Turn it to page 33. Somebody
Everybody
asked me.
please stand.
Please stand. Rise, please. Somebody asked me the other day, they shot me a message. They said, aren't you giving away all your nuggets? And honestly, folks, that's why I wrote this book. I wanted everybody to get the nuggets out of here. And if I have to read this entire book on this podcast and I'm handing out free content on this podcast, I'm cool with it. And I'm actually doing a pay it forward right now. So if you have read the book, Prep, Rep, Repeat, and you have no further use for your book, give it to somebody, lend it to somebody, because I need everybody reading this book. All young teenagers, all young adults. I need them reading this book. Even our clientele and even our demographic. If you get lost somewhere in your life, boom, this is a tool. This is a resource. So use it. All right.
Absolutely.
Please rise. Page 30.
Yes, sir.
Every day we collectively make thousands of micro decisions that may ripple through our lives in profound ways. Not every decision will yield a positive outcome. Some may even hinder our progress or lead us astray. The key to effective self-assessment lies in the ability to learn from your choices and mistakes without allowing them to shape your identity. Instead of becoming defined by your past or viewing them as failures, reframe those experiences as opportunities for growth. Reflect on the lessons learned and use that knowledge to identify areas for your improvement in your life.
I like that, man. I like that. We got a lot to dig into. Let's get it.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
What it look like, what it be like, what it do. Welcome back to another episode of the Bad Podcast, Brad and Dawain. And we're here, man, another Monday. This is after the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl has happened, and someone has lifted, what's the name of the trophy? The
Lombardi Trophy.
Lombardi Trophy.
Mhm.
Somebody has kissed it. Somebody's going to Disney World. But me and Brad are recording this before that game. So this is our I guess we can call it our annual Super Bowl pick prediction type thing. But before we get into that, man, I think it's really cool because also if you're an E2M, we brought the red and black to the regular E2M, and we had a workout step off pretty much between Coach Brad and Coach Mandy. And so if you're watching this episode, man, let people know which team you with team red or with team black, whatever. We didn't even do this on purpose, but it worked out. but yeah, let us know that. But all right, Brad, what's your prediction for 2025 Super Bowl, whatever that is? What did old boy said? Lick, L-I-X.
Hey, this isn't a prediction.
Okay.
This isn't a prediction. This is what it's going to be.
All right.
23-21, Jalen Hurts taking the Super Bowl trophy to Disney World, Disneyland. 23-21, go Eagles fly, Eagles fly.
Wow. So, you're my boy. So I would ride with that, man. I would ride with that. But you also told me 2 weeks ago the Buffalo Bills are going to be in the Super Bowl. So your predictions aren't that, they're not like that. Maybe a little partiality going on. But my prediction, man, I think we're going to witness history. And I think we're going to see the very first three-peat from the chefs. From the chefs, the Chiefs, and I think my prediction for the score, that's a little tougher. I think it might be I'm gonna go 21-28.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna go 21-28. And those that are like I said, mature. Y'all remember that that old Snickers commercial where the guy that paints the field, he finished painting the field. He's like, "Hey man, looks great, but who are the chefs?" He left the eye out. It's supposed to be the Chiefs. Like who are the chefs? So that's why I
Yeah.
said the chefs, man. So that's my
You know,
prediction, man.
it's neat. Just to tie into that chef's theme, a good friend of ours, Chef Kev, is a Chef's fan.
There you go. Chefs for a chef.
Yeah, yeah. It's it. I'm just in the game for entertainment at this point. I don't have any stake in the
Mm-hmm.
game. One thing that our demographic has stake in is we have a lot of Philadelphia, Southern New Jersey folks that
True.
listen to this podcast and that are a part of E2M. But I also have some hometown ties. Nick Sirianni is a hometown boy with me. My wife knows him. They went to college, or they went to high school together. I coached with his brother Jay for a couple of years. So I have some hometown ties with Nick and the Philadelphia Eagles. So I'm pulling for them. But you know what? Winners win. Plain and simple. I ain't getting deep with it. Winners win, and winners always find a way to win. And one of the things Patrick Mahomes just said on an interview the other day was winners oftentimes become the villain, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
when you win so much, everybody's out to get you, and
Mm-hmm.
when everybody's out to get you, all of a sudden excuses come flying in. And I am a Buffalo Bills fan, and it was heartbreak watching a loss a couple of weeks ago. But the thing is you have to put yourself in situations to win, and the Buffalo Bills didn't
Right.
do that. And this isn't a sports podcast. Like I ain't gonna go deep on the sports side of things, but this can be very applicable to life. Winners win. Winners find a way to win. Is it going to be a hard win? Okay, win hard. Is it going to be an easy win? Okay, win easy. However, you need to figure out a way to persevere and prevail. Like that's what winners do. And there's far
Mm-hmm.
too many people in society today that point the finger and make this excuse and make that excuse and wonder why they're not where they want to be. Well, first and foremost, man, take some ownership. Take some
That's right.
responsibility. You're not where you want to be. Okay, maybe I will get deep today. You're not where you want to be. Well, there's
Yeah.
a reason for that. Look in the darn mirror, and
Yeah.
are your decisions and are your actions aligning with your goals?
Mm.
That's just hate him or love him. Patrick Mahomes is today's Tom Brady. And I'm a Bills fan. Okay, I'm a Broncos fan. I'm an AFC guy. Tom Brady murdered the Bills. He took down the Broncos. He took down all the gods in the football league that he played against. He took them down. That's Patrick Mahomes today. And that again,
Yeah.
they turn into the villains. But these are two guys that have fallen in love with the process. And when you start to fall in love with the process, you start to hoist that Lombardi trophy. You start to
That's
fall in love
right.
with the process. You start to forget about the destinations. You start forgetting about the accolades, and you fall in love with what's forever. And that is the process. That's the journey.
Absolutely, man. So good. I mean, you hit it on the head, man. Because to be honest, I'm not rooting for the Chiefs because they're the
Villain?
villain, man. They're the villain. They
Yeah.
keep winning. I
Yep.
want somebody else. Yeah, but that's my
Yeah.
prediction, though. All right, man.
Mhm.
Let's jump into this, man. The thing I love about your quote, just kind of in my mind, listening, the summary is not letting your past define your present or your future, man. And that's what I got out of it, man. So let's jump into that. I think that's a huge topic, especially when it comes to just life in general.
Yeah. Yeah. I was mentioning this the other day and said something along the lines of like, I've made plenty of mistakes. I've said plenty of embarrassing things. You look back and you're like, man, did I really say that? Did I really believe that? Why did that come out of my mouth? Or why did I do that? We all have instances in our lives where we make some sort of decision and we're like, at what point in my life did I think that this was a good idea? You
For
know,
sure.
um, bull riding, not one of them. That's something that I hold on to. Skydiving, not one of them. I'll do that all day. Tattoo, no, that's not one of them either. My bucket list things, there's a reason for those things. But um, a lot of people, you'll make a mistake in life. You'll get behind the wheel after a night out with the gang. You'll make a poor decision, and unfortunately have a poor outcome from that decision.
Hmm.
But far too many people, instead of saying, you know what, I screwed up royally, That was a year ago. That was 10 years ago, 20 years ago. But far too many people, they shackle themselves to that past action or that past decision, and they hold it as almost like a weight on their shoulders today. And the same thing goes for victory. Is that my wife? If
No.
it is, she knows we're recording right now. She's upstairs. I will walk upstairs right now and give her the business.
No, don't do that. No, that's my reminder. I had a little reminder.
um, but people do it on victory too, Dawain, and it's
Yeah.
neat because the Super Bowl just took place, and this is something that Tom Brady, Nick Saban, Patrick Mahomes, winners. This is what winners do really well.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Saban said it best. He says, you know what, when we win a national championship, we're weeks behind everybody else because everybody else is already recruiting for the next year's championship, and we're not because we were in the championship.
You're in it.
And that was like an aha moment. I'm like, holy cow, this guy just won the national championship, and he's saying he's weeks behind for the next season. He's 320 days out from the next championship, and that's his primary focus. That's what Patrick Mahomes does well. That's what Tom Brady did well. Is they're not shackled to that past victory or that past failure. What's the next victory I can accumulate? What's the next thing that I can take on in my life?
Yeah, no, that's good. I didn't know that about Saban, man. That's a way to think about it, and it's funny how your perspective it can just change your trajectory, man. You can go from thinking about you won the national championship to, man, I'm actually behind in recruiting. Like that's just a wild mindset to me, man. Because I'm sure he enjoyed the moment, the Gatorade douche, I'm sure he enjoyed all that. But walking back to the locker room was like, man, like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
I don't know. I just that's championship pedigree, man. That's what that is. That's that. That's why he was so successful. And I think about just on a day to day, and man, we repeat ourselves because we got new listeners, and for those that are hearing it again, you needed to hear it again. But we always talk about reaching a goal and going from there, man. And that is a great example of that, man. So I want to kind of double back on what you said in the beginning, the bad decisions, the decisions that have consequence. Some people can do things and they make bad decisions, but they have to experience that consequence. But that doesn't leave them there. I have a lot of homeboys and guys I grew up with that made bad decisions, and it was what they did after the fact is what decided, like I mentioned in the beginning, the trajectory of their life. Like, how do they respond? You can have a wrong decision, even on a day to day. If you watch it right now, you got an Oreo in your hand. That was a bad decision. Go ahead and eat it, and then be like, all right, moving forward, we're not gonna eat them until such and such. It's really about moving forward from that moment.
How did you can't see my hands. How did you know I had an Oreo in my grip?
I see it. I see you. Look, I
Laser
see
beam.
you.
Too, you talk about consequence, and unfortunately, we'll just use the analogy of the Oreo. So I have an Oreo, right? I eat an Oreo, and very rarely do you see an immediate consequence or an immediate result or an immediate reaction or anything like that in those moments, right? So you have that Oreo and you don't get a consequence. You hop into the car behind the wheel after a night out with the gang. There's no consequence. So what do? You keep doing that thing, and you start to press the limits a little bit. You start to press the law a little bit. You start to do things that you shouldn't be doing. That one Oreo turns into 2 Oreos. That one decision turns into 10 bad decisions, and then all of a sudden you're spiraling and you don't know how to gain traction. Well, the first thing that you have to do is you got to come back to base, and you have to ask yourself, apply the 3-6-9 rule. This is what I do with everything in my life. Apply the 3-6-9 rule. What is this decision going to do for me in a compound way? Not right now, not right here, because that Oreo, it's not gonna impact me today.
Right.
right? It's not going to impact me today, but 369 days from now, 369 months from now, that one Oreo is going to turn into a bag of or a carton of Oreos, and all of a sudden, how do I get back to that one Oreo day that I was at, or that one bad decision that I was at, versus that pack of Oreos. But yeah, consequence, man, is a funny thing because a lot of times you don't see the consequence, you don't see the outcome or the product. And same with the positivity, right? We
Yeah.
talk about this all the time. I go to the gym, I come home, look in the mirror, see nothing. I go to the gym,
Yep.
so on and so forth. And because there's no product, there's no outcome, there's no result, we lose sight of what's important. We forget about the 369 rule, and we don't exercise that thing we call patience and perseverance.
Yeah, man, that's a big one. Patience is a big one. It's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
I remember clearly, when I first lost weight, when I first did the program, locked in, solid, tight, like didn't play around. It was during the pandemic. It was easy. There weren't any barbecues. We ate what was at the house. Like it was good.
Yeah.
But then I remember when I did eat outside of the plan, and I just knew for sure I was gonna wake up like Professor Clump. You know how you just it all comes back. Like I just knew for sure because I ate that burger combo, and it
Mm-hmm.
was not my celebration. It was not whatever. I just knew, but it didn't. And that next morning I was like, oh, like
Mm-hmm.
that's not how this works.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
it's so funny how the mind thinks. But I want just like you said, that one Oreo, it don't turn into one or two Oreos. It turned into a sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
It turned into a whole thing, and I've done that before. I'll be honest. I've ate a whole thing of Oreos in one day. But I said all that to say, especially with the bad decision, you don't want to skate on the side of not being cautious. Like although it won't make you fat because of that one, but like you mentioned, if you keep compounding it will have adverse
Mm-hmm.
effect. And so if you treat that fail or that loss or whatever as a learning moment, like, okay, let me think about this. Like, how did I get here? Why did I do this? What can I do to prevent this?
Mm-hmm.
And then that actually sets you up to, when that temptation comes again or when that situation comes again, you can make a better decision. And then even on the same side of, like you mentioned with the positive, you know, not seeing any results, not seeing the scale move. For those that like the scale, we tell you to leave it alone. But for those that like the scale, not seeing it move, not seeing, different things, those things, that the positive stuff that you're doing is compound. It continues to add on and add on until you see the results that you're looking for, man. So just kind of reiterating what you
Yeah.
said, just from my
Mm-hmm.
lenses, man, and my experience, it's the I love the 369
Yep.
thing, man, because that's something you should always keep in mind when you're making a decision. How's this going to affect? And too many times we're living in the moment to stop and thinking about how it affect something in the future.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do that with everything, professionally, personally, with my physical fitness, everything that I do. What will this do for me in 369 days, weeks, months, years, even? But you mentioned something about the scale, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I was somebody that always said, look in the mirror versus look at the scale. And I'm even getting away from that too. Stop looking in the mirror, because when we look in the mirror, the one thing that we have a lot of focus on is our imperfections. We'll look in the mirror and say, "Oh man, I wish I could work on that. I wish I could. I wish I could improve there. I wish I could do this better." But you don't see those things that are happening behind the scenes. Your cholesterol level is improving.
Right.
Your heart rate is improving. Your cardiovascular endurance is improving. Like all your numbers are improving. Yet we look in the mirror and all we look at is our imperfections and our blemishes. And that's a really unhealthy habit. It's a really unhealthy thing to get into, because when
Mm.
you continue to look at those imperfections, it kind of gets you, it leads to discouragement, it leads to frustration, and then all of a
Mhm.
sudden, like, well, you know what, I don't know, I've been working really hard, I'm frustrated, I think I'm just going to go back to my old lifestyle, because if I'm going to have these imperfections anyways, I might as well enjoy a sleeve of Oreos. And then we start
Mm.
to justify it too. I'm going to justify eating that sleeve of Oreos, and because I saw an influencer and they eat a sleeve of Oreos. Well, you also don't know that they're pumping something in their body
Uh,
that combats that sleeve of Oreos, and so on and so forth.
yeah, no, that man. I think we've all been there though, Brad. Like I think we all been there. Like, oh well, I messed up for this weekend. I might as well go.
Yeah. Yes.
cheat weekend it is.
Well, I call it Monday Warriors. I call it
Yeah, I'm
Monday
about to say we'll
Warriors.
start back on Monday. We'll
Yeah,
we'll have a cheat
my
weekend.
mom, your birthday compadre. I don't
That's
know,
right.
your birthday buddy. I love her to death. She's one of my favorite people in the entire world. But she's a Monday warrior. It'll be Tuesday, and
Yeah.
she'll derail. She'll have her 3 or 4 Oreos, and she goes, "Well, I'll start Monday." I'm like, "Mom, it's Tuesday. It's Tuesday. It's Monday night. Today is Monday. I'll start next Monday." Be a today warrior. Be a today warrior. Plain and
Oh
simple.
my gosh, I love that so much. That's my birthday twin.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
That is so cool.
Mhm.
Good
Yeah,
stuff, man.
well, I mentioned this in my book too about my Iron Man, because a lot of people, they can relate to failure, they can relate to these dark periods. But I went into an extremely dark period after my Iron Man. I mentioned this early on. It was like the second or third podcast that we did
Yeah,
2 years ago, which is just mind blowing.
crazy.
Um, but I mentioned this. I went into a really dark place because I was so focused. I was hyper focused for 10 months on one thing, one goal, one milestone, one finish line, right? And when I finally reached that milestone, like everything just went away. And that's why I said early on in this podcast, you have to fall in love with the process and not that finish line, not that destination, because the destinations are going to come and go. Your milestones and your accolades, your goals, they're going to come and go. If you lose 50 pounds, that's great. I
Right.
applaud you. But that 50 pounds is the start line for the next endeavor, the next big goal, the next big journey that you go on. That's merely the start line. That ain't the finish line. The finish lines are temporary in life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it's amazing, how you put so much into a target,
You know,
and yeah, same thing, same thing. I don't think I didn't go too deep into the darkness. For me, I was just enjoying calories. Like I was actually happy.
That's a dark place, though. That's a dark place, you
it,
know?
it seemed bright at the moment.
And doesn't it always? Doesn't it always?
It seemed bright. Well, I was just happy to be able to eat food, man. I was so happy to not have to
Yep.
track my macros and
Mhm.
calculate stuff. I was just
Yeah.
in a good place, man. But
Mhm.
but yeah, no, it's amazing just how that works, man. And the thing that you did, I mean, we both did, is physically challenging, it's mentally challenging, shoot, man, even on the spiritual side, when I was hungry, boy, I got real close to I got real close to God during that
No kidding.
time. I was like, I need some help.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
But it's just amazing that, you can do that, you can achieve something great and turn around and sink down into a not so pleasant place.
Mhm.
And that, and I say that to encourage people that are experiencing that. You're just because you are in your whatever your dark place right now, it don't mean that you're a failure. It don't mean that all is bad. You can, everybody experiences it. It's not a problem just you have. Everybody experiences,
Mhm.
even the top professionals, they experience the same thing. And so the difference between them and you at the current moment is, in us, is you have to get back up. You have to forget about whatever that decision was, whatever that dark moment was, and that turning point. What was the turning point for you, Brad, as far as coming out of your your moment there.
Mhm. This was easy for me because I was kind of spiraling out of control, and I just needed to click it on a race. I signed up for the Cleveland Half Marathon and went right back to the basics. I was putting I was putting 4 hours on my bike on every Saturday, 4 hours on the bike,
Whew.
2 hours on my feet. On Sundays, I'd spend an hour in the water. So I was training at a maximal level. Like I was pushing my limits physically and mentally. But when that first day of my Cleveland half marathon training called for 3 miles, I'm like, oh man, this will be a breeze. But sometimes you just have to get back to the basics, and you need to start from the beginning, just to recognize that I do have some confidence deep within me. I do have some courage deep within me. And some of us just need to dig a little bit deeper to find that confidence and courage, because everybody has it, just like greatness. Some of us, it's dormant, but it's there. How do you
Hmm.
find, or how do you get that dormant greatness to come to life? Go back to the basics, start at the very basics, and build from there.
Yeah, that's great advice. There. Same with me. Going back to the basics, because I enjoy weight training. Like to
Mhm.
me, weight training it's like recess to me. Like it's
Mhm.
like it's fun. Like I enjoy it, And so whenever I you know, finish enjoying all that food, I got, I reached out to Eric. I was like, hey, bro, like I need help. Like I need to get back training and just getting back into that regiment
Mhm.
was super, super helpful. Back to the basics, back to lifting and all of that, man. So
Mhm.
so good, so good. All
Yeah.
right, man. What
Mhm.
what what direction we going? You ready to start wrapping it up, land the
Yeah.
plane?
Yeah, let's land the plane next to the Eagles, Super Bowl champions, Orlando, Florida. We're coming to you. By the time this drops, yep, Jalen Hurts will finally have his. I'm excited to see
Mm,
what he does. I really enjoy watching him play. Um, like I said, hometown ties with Nick Sirianni, so I'm pulling for the Eagles. I really hope they pull this one out. And again, no shade at the Chiefs, man. Like a lot of people are hating on the Chiefs, but again, they're the Patriots of this
yeah,
decade, and
yeah.
they're the villains because they're the winners. And it's very easy to point the finger at the winners and say, "Hey, you're the villains." Because if somebody's below you, come on, like, you ain't
Yeah.
nobody's saying that to. I don't even know a bad team in the league right now. Nobody's saying
The
that to.
Browns, the
Nobody
Browns,
says
the
that to
class.
the Browns. Like nobody hates on the Browns, right?
Shout out
Like
to my homeboy Maceo that lives in the Cleveland area. I had to throw him under the bus.
but that's
I
that's
had
how
to,
the Bills were. Like I can relate to Cleveland fans because that's how the Bills were for like 25 years. Um,
yeah.
the Detroit Lions were like that too, and so I listened to the Secret to Success podcast, and they're big Lions fans, right? And
Mm,
they're known as the lovable losers because when you're a loser, and I'm not throwing any shade at anybody, but when you
right.
when you can't seem to find your feet on the ground and find yourself on a win streak, you're lovable, right? You're
Yes.
lovable, and when you
Yes.
start to win, Chiefs,
Yes.
Patriots.
Yes.
It's a little easier to
I
hate
know we're
on them.
supposed to land this plane. I know we're supposed to land this plane. I know, I know, I know. But I actually sent this video. Between Brad and Jeff, I'll be sending a whole bunch of videos, stuff that I see. But I sent this to Jeff, man, and I'm not gonna play it, but I just want to remember the concept. So the guy speaking, I'm gonna send this to you when we hang up,
Yeah.
Brad. But the guy speaking was talking about an interview that the coach from Boston Celtics had, this after they won championship. And he said, they're like the person interviewing was like, it seems to me that Jason Tatum has been dealing with some unfair criticism, and then he said that did you see this one?
Mm-mm.
And
I
and
know where you're
and he said
going.
and the coach cut him off and said he said gets to. He's like, what? He's like, he gets to deal with unfair criticism. Like, what do you mean? He's like, he wanted to be the best. He wanted to be the face of the NBA. He worked hard. He wanted that spot. When you get there, when you're in that place, when you're a winner, you're going to get unfair criticism. Like
Mhm,
it's coming. Like
mhm,
it's automatic. You're going to get the hate. You're going to get the haters. You're going to become the villains.
mhm,
All the things. So,
mhm.
yeah, man. That
Well,
that
you and I
that's it.
referenced what was the movie, the documentary, The Last Dance?
Oh yeah.
Michael Jordan was looked at as a tyrant.
Oh
He was the
yeah.
greatest player to ever step foot on the hardwood, and people remember him as a tyrant. He ain't a
All right.
tyrant. He's a winner.
He's a winner, man. So here,
This
here
plane's
okay,
going up, I think.
we gonna land it this time. We're
We
gonna
got
land this time.
close to the landing strip. We were up.
But no, so I saw another video. I'm telling you, man, Instagram, bro. And I sent this to my boys because we always having this debate. So the video said the reason why LeBron James is not the GOAT is because he's a great father.
Oh,
You can't be a great father and be the GOAT. Like you got it. One got to prioritize.
Yeah.
And so, ironically, not a laughable moment, but apparently one of Jordan's kids got arrested
I saw
this
that.
weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the guy put it in. I was like, well, there you go. That goes to show you Jordan is the GOAT.
But even to reference LeBron, how many people hate LeBron James? People just hate LeBron. The guy is a self-made billionaire. Obviously, he was gifted, physically. He's got the skills and the tangibles. But how many people hate LeBron James? How many people hate all these people that are successful? Right? Yeah. I mean, people just hate on winners. Nobody likes Tom Brady, or nobody liked Tom Brady. Nobody likes Patrick Mahomes right now. Give it a couple more years, and this is a prime example. Okay, sorry, prime example. Okay, I think about Josh Allen. Everybody in the league right now loves Josh Allen. Why? Because he's that lovable loser, right? He's that lovable loser. The guy's talented. He's got heart. He's got grit. He's got determination. He's got all the things. Yeah, he can't get over that hump, that obstacle, and that obstacle right now is the Chiefs. But he's the lovable guy in the NFL right now. Everybody loves him. But he just can't get over that hump, and that's why people love him. But Patrick Mahomes, he's over that hump. He's in the promised land. And that's why it's easy to hate on him.
Easy, man. Easy. So, more of the story, y'all. If you're getting hated on, you're winning.
You're doing something right. You are doing something right. Yes, 100.
Good stuff, man. So, as you see at the bottom of the screen, April 12th, mark your calendars. Columbia, we are coming. Step Jam. If you want to know how to register for Step Jam, go to eager2run.com and register. We're going to be there. We're going to have music. We're going to party before. We're going to party after. And after, we're probably going to do a live podcast. All of the things are going to happen in Columbia on April the 12th. Mark your calendars, book your flights, book your canoes, whatever you got to do to get there. Make sure you are there, man. So, Brad, all right, man. Anything else on the way out of here?
Let's land this plane. Otherwise, we'll have to have a part 2 to this podcast. But I really enjoyed this podcast. I think there was a lot of good golden nuggets. And if you made it this far in the podcast, please share this podcast. Comment below something that you learned, something that you enjoyed. Tag all your friends. Copy paste it everywhere you can think of, and just very appreciative of our following.
Yes, sir. Great call, man. All right, y'all. Peace.